Hey guys, it's Dylan here. I cannot, hold on. There we go, even though I'm super bright now. I just want to talk a little bit on my thoughts on cube magic. As some of you guys are aware, I do magic and I also solve puzzles pretty much for my life. And there have been a few tricks that I bought that kind of mixes both worlds, as commonly referred by you humans, Rubik's Cube magic. There are two different types. Sorry, that looked weird to me. Two different types of two different videos. There we go. There's two different videos that I got. One is The Solution by Michael Murray, and then the other is Cube 3 by Stephen Brundage. I think I already did a video on that, and I'm pretty much going to complain about it again, because you know me. I'll do the same thing 1,000 times, and, you know, feel nothing of it. But it's just, I'm not a big fan of those two videos, or those two tricks, because after I actually watched them and found them out, I realized that it's not really that hard to do it. I mean, here, take this for example, a completely scrambled Rubik's Cube. Now, if you were to have The Solution by Michael Murray, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Not 4 seconds, but 4 moves. Technically 8. Only 8 moves to get from how I was to the solved state. Now, in all reality, it's not that hard, and if you look closely, you won't be able to see like anything wrong with it. But here, I'll keep my other hand in view the entire time. And trust me when I say it's the same cube. Trust me when I say this. And then there's the I don't remember what it's called, but it's by Stephen Brundage. And it's a similar trick where you would take the cube, you just toss it up and it would be solved. So now I have two tricks of the exact same kind on me. The first trick, The Solution by Michael Murray, is used for having somebody else solve the Rubik's Cube. And the very first time I did it, they figured out exactly what it was. Because the reason how they sell you the tricks is they don't show you the true live performance. Because if I were to show you the thing with The Solution, like, what you take is a completely scrambled Rubik's Cube and you give it to somebody behind their back. And let me just solve this real quick. And and you tell them and you show them what they're supposed to do. That they grab it and they turn it like this. Now, if they're supposed to turn the cube like that, I'm pretty sure you guys don't even have to, like, know how to solve a Rubik's Cube. You don't have to believe in magic. You don't have to, like, I'm pretty sure every single one of you guys, that if you were able to realize that all they were doing was turning it like this behind their backs, I'm going to tell you exactly what the first guy said to me. You solved it before you put it in my hand, didn't you? And, like, let's be honest. If somebody knows you for being able to solve a Rubik's Cube, then odds are they're going to think you solved it behind their back. And even if that was wrong, wouldn't it make sense though? Like, if the solution did not involve solving the Rubik's Cube behind their back, then, solving the Rubik's Cube behind their back before placing it into their hands. If it didn't involve that, then if that was how you do it, if you solved the Rubik's Cube before putting it into their hands, like, it makes sense because if they're only turning it like this, then you're not really changing the pieces around, you're just rotating the cube. So any logical smart person would think, I'm not changing this cube. So if you were to pull this out from behind your back and have it be solved, clearly you know that the magician did something. You didn't do a damn thing. The magician probably solved the Rubik's Cube behind your back. But let's say that, like, what if solving the Rubik's Cube was not part of the solution? What if you put it behind their back and they still did this though? Just any sort of, like, right-minded person would think that if all you're doing is this, you're not changing up how the Rubik's Cube is. This is pretty much the entirety of the trick. So it doesn't take a genius to figure out that, like, they're not changing how it's done. So the only trick would be is not having your spectator solve the cube and then out of nowhere showing it that's solved behind their back with them having no idea. The magic is actually being able to solve it within a few seconds right before putting it into somebody's hands. And so I mean, it's one of those tricks that's just, people know how it's done because it's easy to figure out. That if you're smart enough to be able to figure out how it's done, then I mean, why not, right? But if it's just with the whole mindset of this is not changing it at all, you don't have to know how the trick is done to be able to easily figure it out, even if you're just watching it. And when they said, okay, this is what you're going to do, and it's that, just from watching it, you're going to think, okay, he solved it before putting it in his hand. You may not know how he scrambled it or how he solved it, but it has to be somewhat easy to take 1, 2, 3, and be able to solve it and scramble it just as fast. Of course, when you're actually doing it, I don't think you're doing it in that manner. I don't remember the actual way on how to scramble it so that you can, like, show it to people as you're scrambling it and make it look like it's actually being scrambled. I just pretty much do the exact same thing as solving it, just from a different position. I think I just gave it away, didn't I? But still, I do not like tricks like that because it's way more than it was. I mean, when I found out the fact that the trick by Stephen Brundage, like, if you were to look at this, it doesn't look like much. But then you show that, and still, that doesn't look like much. You can show all the sides, but as soon as you show one other side, something seems off here. So you turn it, and it's just, it's not enough for me. And somebody who enjoys magic and Rubik's Cubes, although what Stephen Brundage did on AGT was great, when I bought Cube 3, I thought it was going to be more than what it was. Because all it was, I just want to make sure I know what I'm doing. Because all it was pretty much you're taking this, you're putting it into a plastic bag, and then you're taking it out and it's solved. And pretty much all that's happening is the same thing like the solution with Michael Murray. You're putting it into the bag, and you're solving it before it's put into the bag because you show, hey, look, it solved it by itself. Clearly not. So when you put it in the bag, you can't really show it because you must have been able to solve it prior to putting it into the bag. So I don't want, so I'm going to be honest, I am giving away the solution. I am not meaning to. I am pretty much trying to give both sides of the thought process, because the only way for somebody to pull out a solved Rubik's Cube while doing this to a scrambled Rubik's Cube is not possible. So you had to have solved it before putting it into their hands. Now, just because that's the solution doesn't mean that I'm giving away the solution. I'm purely just spreading my thoughts on, hey, this is more than likely how it's done because it's the only thing that makes sense. When you get rid of all that's impossible, whatever's left, no matter how improbable, has to be the solution. That is something I remember hearing on Doctor Who from a quote of Sherlock, and I enjoy Sherlock. But it's just, if you have to set up something, then at least have it be worth it to not just go from something like this, from a scrambled Rubik's Cube, to just, like, because I'm not a big fan of flashy like that. Like, I'd much rather have some intelligence behind it. So he taught 4 tricks. One was placing it into the bag. The next was throwing it over your back, which is really terrible if you have terrible hand-eye coordination, which you would think somebody who could solve a Rubik's Cube has. But no. But you pretty much do a very similar thing as to putting it into the bag and solving it. You're just solving it behind your back that fast as you toss it up and you catch the solved Rubik's Cube. And there are other tricks that are online about having a, hey look, it's a completely scrambled Rubik's Cube, and then they just toss it up and catch it. And they catch it like this, so you can't see it. And then they maneuver it, and then they show you, see, all sides are solved. But if you look, I'm not showing you the yellow side. And that's because there are so many different colored stickers on this side. And that's how the trick is done on YouTube. And people have done that trick and they've shown that trick. So I can't feel guilty about sharing this because it's already out there. And then there are other cube tricks where it's, like, I remember debating about spending, what, 20 or 30 bucks to learn how to solve a cube blindfolded. Well, guess what? You want to know how to solve a cube blindfolded? You memorize it. There, spoiled. Completely surprised. Oh no! But legitimately, people are making money off of shit that's on YouTube for free. Like, I have this webpage open behind me, open behind you. Cube Effects by Carl Hein and John George. It is $80, and on the 3rd DVD, they say they're throwing it in for free on how to solve the Rubik's Cube, how to solve it at a speed cuber level, and how to even blind solve it. You wanna know what? If they were selling that, I'd call it a ripoff. I would ask for a discount for already knowing that stuff, and I know I won't be getting it. But still, being able to solve it, learning how to solve it at a faster speed, and being able to blindfold solve it, it's all on YouTube. I'm sure there's a lot of people that know how to solve the Rubik's Cube, and by a lot of people, I mean the people who are actually interested in, you know, cube magic and solving a cube. That's the type of people I'm talking to when I say a lot of people already know how to solve a Rubik's Cube. But from the people that know how to solve a Rubik's Cube, and they probably know how to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded, it's just they don't want to, or they don't think that they have the capacity to do it. And it's very simple, and it uses what's called the lettering scheme, which means that the edges and the corners go in a clockwise order, and it starts with A, E, I, K, and W, I think? No, there's way more. But pretty much it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X. I'm not sure how much you're able to see, but that's all it is. That's pretty, with that and the corners as well. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X. And if you are able to remember that, you know how to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. Now, it's really that simple to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded, in theory. In practice, it's hard, because to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded, you need a minimum of 2 algorithms and a pretty good memory. Because they use what's called a buffer piece, which for this case would be here. Let's say we were solving the corners. They would use the buffer piece, which would do a Y-perm, which switches this corner with this corner, this edge with this edge. And what it does, it switches this sticker with this sticker, and this sticker with this sticker. So you'd want the yellow, green, and orange piece up here. Now it's already in here. So I'll start this off with the Y-perm. And then you have this sticker, which is the yellow, blue, and orange sticker, which in this case would be right here. So A, B, C, D. So it's in the D position. Now you remember on how to get to these certain positions. So you would take this sticker of the yellow, green, and red corner. You would take the red sticker and you want to put it in this spot, which is where the piece switches with the buffer. And if I were to do that, which would be in cubing terms F2, D, R2, and then I would do the Y-perm, and then I were to undo those moves, which would be the setup moves, and then undoing the setup moves, R2, D prime, F2, that corner will be in the correct position. And you do that throughout the entirety of the solve. And you do that piece by piece. That is literally all you really need to know about how to do it. You need to know the Y-perm and the T-perm. I am already at 17 minutes. Fuck's sake. You have the Y-perm and you have the T-perm, and for corners you're doing the Y-perm and you're switching this corner, and you're switching this corner and putting it into this place using setup moves in order to get it into the position correctly. You're just switching these back and forth, back and forth. Now there's more to it in memorizing and what to do if you have an odd number of swaps versus an even number of swaps. But I'm just saying, it's really just you have 2 algorithms: the Y-perm, which switches these corners and these edges, and the T-perm, which switches these corners and these edges. So it's in theory it's really simple, but in practice it's harder because you have a lot more to learn than you're aware of. Like with this piece right here, it's flipped. So you're going to have to take this piece out. So if you were to finish with this piece, you would have to take this piece out and then put it right back in. Now, of course, in reality, that'd be stupid, but you're blindfolded, so you only have to go off your memory, and the easiest way is to use setup moves to take it out, and then use setup moves to put it back in correctly. So, this goes way back to me saying that if I were to ever get big in Magic, I would if there was a gimmick, I would tell people, this is the gimmick. If I were to say this, like, it's a gimmick cube, I will explain, it's a gimmick cube, there are pieces, or there are cards inside, because that's how I think one of Stephen Brundage's tricks is, where he had the corner of a card fit into a cube piece. Like, it was my immediate thought. It's pretty much Angle Zero or Angle Z, I guess, from Daniel Madison. It's just done with a cube. So pretty much, there's only, 4, 8, 12 edges, and then 8 corners, so that's only 20 pieces, and then if you're going to include the centers, that's 6 more, so that's 26 pieces. That is half a deck of cards. If you were able to remember, let's say the entirety of the middle deck of cards, and you were to have a spare corner, or if you wanted the corner to match exactly, you pre-rip a corner. And you just hide the fact that you pre-ripped it, and you just stuck them in there. You stuck 26 corners in a Rubik's Cube. Now, of course, that seems a little over-excessive, but from what Penn said about Teller, he was able to produce a block of ice out from under his hat, and that's because he had a block of ice in his hat for the entirety of like being at a party, and then when he was going to perform, he put the hat on the table. So it's not like he snuck in a giant piece of ice. It was already there, just nobody was aware of it. And then to have the card magically appear inside of it, I am at 20 minutes and 40, almost 50 seconds. And to have the piece inside of it, just you have the card, you either have like a cheat sheet written down somewhere, or you just remember, okay, the 6 of hearts is in the yellow-green edge, and then you rip off the corner, and then you show that there's a corner already in there, or as I said, you just pre-rip a corner so that it matches, so that you have the whole matching thing already in there. So like I'm not releasing tricks because I don't know how some of these tricks work. It's just how my mind is thinking about these tricks. So is it really revealing the tricks if all I'm doing is just shedding light on how I think it is? Just because I'm right, am I really revealing it? Or am I wrong because I have these ideas even though I don't know how the trick works? See, that's also really a double standard, because people shun others for, you shouldn't be releasing this, you shouldn't be revealing this. These people don't know for sure how the trick works because they're going to have to spend tons and tons of money in order to figure it out. They're just giving knowledge based off what they already know, and giving knowledge based off of what is really possible. Because do you really think it's possible to take a scrambled Rubik's Cube, toss it up, and catch it, and have it be a fully solved Rubik's Cube? No. But if you were to show one side and have it be completely scrambled, and let's just say it's the green side, shove it up, and I were to show you all the sides, look, it's completely solved now. I know it's not, just bear with me. Look, it's completely solved now, but I'm not showing you the green side, because the green side's the only side that's really messed up. The rest are all solved. So I'm not really revealing these tricks. It's just that I'm giving what I, like, on how my mind processed the trick before I even found out how to do it. So it's just, what I'm trying to say is, be cautious when you're spending money. Don't spend $100 for crap, because that's what I'm worried about doing. Because I want to buy a Cube Effects because I think it's really cool, but I don't want to spend $80 to find out it's another one of these tricks, and that's just bullshit. So I'm telling all you young magicians out there, just be careful, really look into what you're doing, read the reviews carefully, try to see if you are able to figure out how the trick is done, and if it's worth buying it, even though you know how it's done, if you can make it at home. So, anyway, I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe down below. It doesn't really matter to me, and I will see you guys next time.